you know it's going to come back to bite you on the other side because the referees that get away with doing this will referee your own matches soon,
and they will do it again.
So really, like the whole league needs to come together. Something needs to be done about the standard of officiating the league because they are deciding which way the title goes, and that's not what we want to see. We want to see it decided by players.
So I feel like it's something that I complain about every month, every week, every season, and even I think every week, because like
it's literally every week.
Premier League referees, bottom barrel, and I feel like something has to be done about it. Maybe at this point they should go and bring referees that have no stake in it at all, that are not English refs, that don't care who is playing, like you said. They just know red is playing versus blue, and they'll blow, they'll just blow.
Yeah, the English media and the circus around it, social media,
all
the
that
press
pressure
conference, it gets to these referees and they're not up to the pressure because I think that's what happened in that game. Yo, what's good, people? Welcome back. We are officially in the busy Christmas period.
Exactly.
Where the games come thick and fast. And you know the cliches, we're here now. And after this period, who is on top after this period tends to win the league. Yeah,
most definitely. I'm just personally concerned for the number of games that will be played. Shopper is already beating at the chumps to get into it. Like, as a fan, you're excited that Tuesday there'll be a match, Wednesday, Thursday, but man, those players, man.
Yeah, the other side of it is bad. This period has just started and my club already, all through the season we've seen the injuries that have happened since the World Cup, and we're already experiencing those injuries now. And during this period, you just know those players that always get injured, they're just going to get injured now. The football has changed so much.
And I think for me, special focus will be on the African players that are going to go to AFCON. They're big players for their teams. They'll play regularly for their teams, and then they'll go to AFCON in January again. Play under the craziest of conditions with probably some funny pitches, and they'll have to come back into the league. I'm expecting to see some more injuries after this, December.
Yeah, we hope not, but that's just the way football's been going these days, and the players do keep complaining, but nothing happens. But yeah, let's get into it. It happens, and the results come out of it, and the matches can be as exciting as what we've seen over the past few weeks since the last time we saw you guys. We're only going to touch on what happened this weekend, and it was a fiery one this weekend. Where do you want to start?
Very, very big games, but let us start off with something that I've always complained about, which is the level of refereeing in the Premier League. I think it is bottom barrel.
Which incident this weekend? There's always one. Which one?
It was the Haaland, the Man City.
The Haaland one. So that's what we're touching on. But there's always like 5 or 6.
It's always plenty.
But this is the headline one. What occurred in the City game was bizarre. So yeah, City played Spurs, and we know how it goes. As good as City always are, Spurs just find a way to get results against City. This was a very, very depleted Spurs side. They had 2 fullbacks and centre back. Sarr was out. Maddison is out. Who else is out?
Bentancur
is out. The injuries have racked up, and they managed to get a result.
Yeah, very big result for them regardless, to go to Ethiad and to get a draw. And in some parts of the game, you would have thought they could get all 3 points.
Yeah, the second half, the way they turned it up.
They definitely did look good. But yeah, the bulk of the conversation really is how Tottenham were lucky, right, to have had that decision go in their favor, So the referee gave advantage for a foul on Haaland. And the ball went through, and he saw that Haaland made a pass that was going to put Jack Grealish through on goal. And then he decided to cancel the advantage that he just gave. How do you explain that?
First things first, Jack Grealish probably wasn't going to score. But let's put that to the side. But when you're done with that part of the discussion, you might never have got to the post.
Oh my God.
When you're done with that part of the discussion, it was a crazy decision. And we just have to be honest, even when it's against the team you want to see drop points and you like the result, you know it's going to come back to bite you on the other side because the referees that get away with doing this will referee your own matches soon,
and they will do it again.
So really, the whole league needs to come together. Something needs to be done about the standard of officiating the league because they are deciding which way the title goes, and that's not what we want to see. We want to see it decided by players.
So I feel like it's something that I complain about every month, every week, every season, and even I think every week, because
it's literally every week.
The Premier League referees, bottom barrel, and I feel like something has to be done about it. Maybe at this point they should go and bring referees that have no stake in it at all, that are not English refs, that don't care who is playing, like
Exactly.
you said. They just know red is playing versus blue, and they'll blow. They'll just blow.
Yeah, the English media and the circus around it, social media,
all
the
that
press
pressure
conference,
probably
it gets to these referees and they're not up to the pressure. Because I think that's what happened in that game. He cracked under the pressure. He thought a goal was going to happen. It's like, oh, my influence on this goal is actually so heavy, and he just panicked and blew his whistle.
Probably.
But yeah, Haaland was vexed because he was missing chances up and down.
Bruh.
He tried to give them with Darwin Núñez. And that's what happened. And funny enough, Núñez even did the Haaland braided hairstyle.
Yeah,
and,
like he braided his hair. I was like,
but it wasn't stunk up the
gap.
But yeah, Liverpool. Nice segue into the Liverpool game. Big 4-3 result. I think that result keeps the title race alive. It keeps Liverpool closer to Arsenal going into this busy period. If they drop points there, Arsenal would have had the best weekend with Tottenham dropping points, Liverpool dropping points, and City dropping points.
They would have been 4 points ahead of second.
4 points ahead of second. Like they're eating good at that point. But on that game, there's one player I'll talk about in particular, and that's Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think the levels this guy is reaching now, it's getting scary to watch. Like he just has that it factor and that match-winning ability that is rare to find in football players. Like, so I think you see him compared to other right backs who can defend better. Kyle Walker can do this. He can go forward. He can go back at a decent level. But Rich James can do this, can do that. But what Trent has done over like the last 5 years, the amount of moments he has that he just grabs the game by his scruff of the neck and just does a madness. Like late in games, away in tough Champions League games, he just always wants the ball. Like this is a player that the confidence he has in himself is one of the most important things in a footballer, and he just oozes that thing. He knows he is him and the value he has. And I think it's a very important thing to have that when you're a local player, because Jamie Carragher and Roy Keane were talking about it recently, and they were contrasting to Marcus Rashford. And they're like, as a local player, it's literally your job. That the other players that are foreign, they can't understand you. You can't expect Darwin Núñez to understand why a win against Everton is important. Like, he doesn't care. He didn't know Everton 5 years ago. Like, Szoboszlai didn't know about the Premier League. So it's the job of those players to do that in those moments. And I think that's a decent segue into the Manchester United result, because I've been seeing a lot of...
Let me just give my take
on
this.
Fair.
That Liverpool game. It was one of those shaky moments for Liverpool, I'd say. I mean, it would have been a good segue, but just to quickly put something in there, it would have been a very, very
just to hit a little.
It would have been a very, very embarrassing
a little bit of hate
for Liverpool, because it was not a game where you expected Liverpool to struggle the way they did. Fulham came and they put it to Liverpool.
And it's funny because a lot of people do say that, but we forget that this is the same Fulham that away at the Emirates got a draw with a red card, and that's what I said earlier. This is the Premier League. No, so if you can win those games, I think that's the headline.
That's very, very true. That's very, very true. But still, it's one of those things that just allows doubt to creep into like the, an outside.
Did you watch our game? I think a key part of that was something we haven't talked about, and we did count is the injuries happening now. Alisson Tack, we know Alisson is the best goalkeeper in the world, and if you watch those Fulham goals, literally 2 of them went into this guy's leg and entered the net. So I think Liverpool do have a problem in that sense, but I think it's a problem that can be fixed because we have the replacements in our squad, and he should be back in a couple of days. And coming into this game, Liverpool had the joint best defense in the league. Then our keeper goes down and...
No, all that said, all well and good, but just as an outsider looking in, it's just one of those things that you probably expect Liverpool, to be a bit more convincing with some of these things. And I would say there was a great deal of, just that impetus, that I wouldn't call it luck because there was excellent football, on show, but just that little bit of a spark,
I think Liverpool definitely
Liverpool definitely should, but it was one of those ones that if there was no Trent, it could have been like that. It could have, the points could have been snapped away from your hands, and that's definitely something you can't, as much as you want to,
because the thing is, I hear what you're saying.
Don't let's belabor it. But I hear what you're saying,
but I feel like you say if there was no trend, but this is actually something that is proven to be consistent with this Liverpool team and this Jurgen Klopp team. Like, it wasn't Trent, like, this keeps happening. It wasn't Trent against Newcastle. Like, it's been Trent in these last 2 games, but, like, it's Salah so often. Like, Gakpo has stepped up in big games. He got a big draw against, who was it against? Before he got injured. So, it's actually just the nature of the team. And what...
No issues, no critics.
No, I think my problem is that... I think my problem is that this guy needs to. We have a problem with our backup goalkeeper. We need Alisson back as soon as possible. But I think with Alisson in there, I think that's a 4-1 Liverpool result.
Okay. I get your point. No critiquing Liverpool.
Not where Liverpool just won. But let's move on to Manchester United. It's been an interesting few weeks for Manchester United. So it was bad, and then whilst it's been gone, they picked up some results. There, a couple 1-0 results, and then it got bad again. And I guess now it's bad again because there was the Champions League situation. You're last in the group in Champions League now, I believe.
Yep.
And then there was the Newcastle result. Newcastle did very tough.
Champions League, it wasn't a loss. It was a draw when you were expecting.
It was a draw in a must-win game. So it's a draw that it feels like a loss because you're last in the group. And is it possible to leave the group?
A draw against one of the biggest sides.
We said.
Oh, one of the most difficult places to go
Galatasaray
in the world.
Is it Galatasaray?
Yeah, in Turkey.
Okay, you started as one of the biggest sides. Okay, that's why I was worried. It wasn't Bayern, you just played. But so now, Man, you're in a position where you need to beat Bayern?
Oh yeah, we do need to beat Bayern, and we do need to hope. We need to have the result against Copenhagen
go in your favor.
Go in.
So how do you feel about Manchester United? How everything's going now? It's been a few weeks since we spoke again. Like Ten Hag, Marcus Rashford, the attack, Højlund, just everything. Amrabat.
Yeah, generally, I'll just go back to that Ralph Ragnick quote about Manchester United as a whole structure needing open heart surgery, and that's what that guy was crying about. It was not about one signing, two signings, this and that. No, it was never about that. It was always going to be a very, very difficult task to bring Manchester United back to, those glory days. And that work has not been done. They've done it over time since Alex Ferguson left, where they've sort of papered over the cracks and just tried to make one flashy signing here and there and hope that things work out. But it hasn't worked out. There needs to be a complete overhaul of the ownership, of the management, and of the entire system, tradition, and culture of the club for anything positive to come out of this. So the
management, is this Ten Hag included?
This is not Ten Hag included, because I'll give you a very, very good analogy, right? We've had Moyes, Ole, we've had like 4 different managers come into this team, and no matter what they did, look at Kieran McKenna at Ipswich right now and go and watch what Ipswich are currently playing. It would actually shock you. This was Manchester United's assistant manager who everybody thought was crap. Do you understand me? So if a manager, a former assistant manager from Manchester United can leave Manchester United and go and do that. Okay, look at Onana, for example. Onana did not miss any 30-yard pass throughout his time in Ajax. Not one single 30-yard pass did he miss throughout his time in Ajax. And see what's happening to him at Manchester United. These things it's just going to happen at Manchester United, where the culture is crap. The media continues to feed on Manchester United because they always bring in the big bucks. Any headline you have about Manchester United. I mean, I saw a stat about Manchester United being the only team that has not scored with a left foot. How is that something that you're even bringing out? The only team that has not scored with a left, it was never a thing until it became about Manchester United. So these things, these things definitely have a role to play. And I always say it, the buck stops at the ownership of the club. The way they run the club, it has been rubbish. It has been nonsense. And everybody's saying, or some people have said that, but they spent they spent huge funds signing this player and that player. But this is funds that Manchester United would have had regardless of the owners, right? This is funds that the club itself made. Yeah, Manchester United is that big of a club that they generated those funds and they used it. No single investment from the owners. Instead, these owners are taken out of the club, and the club is falling, the club is rotting, from inside out. And that's definitely what you're seeing, right? That Newcastle game, we had 8 players that started under Ole, that played under Ole playing in this. So even Ten Hag does not have his squad yet. He's made some big money signings. He has made some big money signings.
So play them now, as in, he's fighting everybody.
He's made some big signings, but he still doesn't have his squad just yet. So I would not blame Ten Hag, honestly. I do not blame Ten Hag for anything.
I think Ten Hag made some bad signings.
Okay.
If Ole's players are still playing, then he made some bad signings. Okay. So Ten Hag gets no blame for this, for you?
Absolutely none. I promise you, absolutely none. I promise you.
And no blame for Anthony?
Absolutely none.
No blame for Anthony?
Absolutely none. Because how would you...
Okay, no, you've answered my question. I'm moving on.
Because you can't come into a system. You can't come into a system.
But he brought...
You can't come into a system that doesn't work and expect for somebody to perform magic. You just can't. You simply cannot. Nobody's talking about Jack Grealish that cost 100 million and didn't score a goal for 30-something games, and he just bagged his first goal since May. No. We need to be consistent with the things that we say. Do you get me? We need to be very, very consistent with things that we say, right? Liverpool have had a system that worked for them. You know, there was a time when everything was crap before Jurgen Klopp came in, and then they, switched things around. The management, they rearranged things from top to bottom. Made sure that there was a system in play, made sure that there was a director of football, made sure that there was a culture that was being, and there was a future that was being prepared for. All the signings that were made, Jurgen Klopp signings, there were signings that were made to make sure that, okay, for the next 5-10 years, we're continuously competing at the top. But at Manchester United, what are we doing? Erik ten Hag had to force through that Antony signing because he had wanted some big name players that the club did not want to get for him. And he had to make sure, you know what, you have to make this signing for me. And Ajax, they definitely, oh, you guys want Antony by force bar, then pay this amount of money. And
okay, so I think we should move on from that topic, but my rebuttal to that is, whilst I 100% agree, the whole world knows that Manchester United is a poorly run football club, as in we've seen it ever since Sir Alex left. Even whilst he was there, we knew it was poorly run, it was people over cracks. That is true. But what I believe is two things can be true. And another thing that is true is, Ten Hag is not making it easy for himself. Ten Hag is not faultless in this. I'm saying he's faultless in this. I think he's getting off too easy because he has, the way the ownership has a responsibility to this. As a manager, somebody responsible, you can't be a manager of a football club and just say whatever happens, it's just not on me. That's the way I see it. But the question I wanted to ask you on it is, last time we were here, you said Manchester United will finish in top 4. You predicted them in top 4. Do you still think that's possible?
I still think that's very possible.
All right.
So now I'll give you a very, very interesting start.
Now let's do that to the
let me just give you a
crowd
start.
And leave Man U.
It will just help the fans answer the question too. 14 games into the club, into the season, I beg your pardon, we are just 1 point worse off than we were at this stage last season. Make of that what you will.
Okay, but I think then there's probably a little more context to that about how being 1 point off last compared to the fact that now we have Aston Villa on this 1 points and we have a title race that's so crazy from the other side. It is quite different seasons.
There was Aston Villa in the last season too,
but they weren't this good.
They were here last season too.
That's not the point.
They were here last season.
But yeah, you guys let us know in the comment section if you think Manchester United will be playing Champions League football next season. And I guess you can let us know your top 4, so let's know who you have Manchester United leapfrogging out of the 4 runners at the moment. But yeah, like we said, there is a lot of football coming up. And during the week, we have Premier League. We don't even have to wait till the weekend.
Yep.
We're getting right back into it tomorrow. And Arsenal go to Luton Town. A great place for them to go to right now. I mean,
yeah, it's a very great place for them to go to.
We got a draw at Luton Town. Maybe there's something weird about the way the stadium is and all that shit.
I promise you, that was exactly the point I was going to touch on. Luton Town are currently going through some sort of epiphany at the moment. Yeah, they've had good results over the past 5 games. I think they've lost some, but they've had good results compared to how they started off their first 7 or so games. Yeah,
they got a draw against Liverpool.
So it has. They are coming off the back of a good run of form, so you would expect them to, just put it to Arsenal a little bit. This is one of those games that
they could, but let's just make clear that we know it's a very slim chance. What they say we don't know, but it's a very, very slim chance. Let's be honest.
I promise you.
If Arsenal go in there and walk out 3-0, we're not going to be surprised.
You're not going to be surprised. True that.
But Luton might maybe make a draw
I promise you.
If it's a normal football match, 80% of that match, Arsenal are going to be camped inside Luton's box.
A Tuesday night fixture.
Let's see how it goes. And it's very cold.
In December.
It's very cold. Let's see how it goes.
I'm thinking there'll be an upset.
Wednesday, we've got another game another team in title race. Liverpool away to Sheffield. Sheffield just held 5 to Burnley.
Currently
away fixture, newly promoted away fixture. Liverpool, like we just mentioned, the Luton game. There's just something about these new teams when they come into the Premier League and they're playing. These are the games they had marked out when they realized they're back in the Premier League. So there's the way they feel about it. These are the games that the fans wanted to watch the most. So the atmosphere is crazy as there. So yeah, anything can happen in that game as well. But I think the biggest game, actually, a lot of big games. So there are 2 big games happening this week as well. One big game, which wouldn't have been a big game in previous years, is Aston Villa versus Man City. And Unai Emery is actually just one of the best managers in the Premier League. A lot make the case that he has been the best manager in the Premier League over 2023, as he's the manager that's picked up the second most points in the calendar year. That's a very long time to have picked up the most points.
Yep.
So Villa are home to City. City are wobbling. Villa are flying. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting, but injuries are definitely going to have Aston Villa have had some.
I believe Rodri is out of that game.
Rodri had to force Rodri into this Tottenham game yesterday. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, it's an Aston Villa side that has their eyes set on finishing top 4. So
I think Villa can nick it.
I
think, and they score a lot of goals. And when you have a good attack, the way City played the high line, we saw them against Leipzig, like the way they play such a high line and they play before centre backs. So you have centre backs just in random places, in open, expansive space. So teams that have quick players that can run with the ball, like they're just dragging centre back all over the place. And Pep actually needs to sort that out. All the money spent on his defense, it's not looking great at the moment.
That's the only club that I would not expect any excuses from under any circumstances. Man City.
Yeah, they have
no excuse.
What the excuse I will give them is after a treble winning season, the fatigue does happen, and they didn't really sign after that.
I don't give a rat's
I think that's what's happening.
What you have 150, allegedly have 115.
That's a valid point.
You have no excuses because that was what you built the club to do. You
but truth is, Pep is just going to look at you and say that, am I going to win the Premier League every year?
That is a Premier League trophy churning side that you have built by cheating, allegedly.
It's not. It's true.
You can't say it until you can't actually put it as fact until until it's proven. So you've allegedly done that. So you have no excuses. I don't want to care or hear.
All right. The biggest, what I think is the most exciting game of this week. There's a game I'm not going to miss as just a football fan in it for entertainment. It has to be Manchester United versus Chelsea.
Yeah.
These are the Choco Bros, bro. These guys are just too funny right now. All their games are expansive as hell, and yeah, I think we're in for a cracker. I think we're in for a cracker. I think we're in for a cracker in this game, and I think it'll be like a 3-3, a 4-3. We've seen Chelsea against the big side. We saw them against Liverpool. We saw them against Arsenal. We saw them against Spurs. We saw them against City. What do you think?
Yeah, Chelsea score goals, and Manchester United themselves do happen to concede a lot of goals too. They've held like 3 times.
And Chelsea, they score goals, but they concede 2. They make silly mistakes, like.
So it might be a case where you see that trend continue, and it also might be a case where you now say, okay, if this is the case with the two of us, maybe two of us should now be a bit more cautious.
I think neither is going to respect the other enough, as in, because there are players that should think, yeah, I can go at this team. Like Chelsea have their decent attackers. Like you guys have good players. You're going to think, why shouldn't I? Bruno, why am I not spraying that ball to Rashford to isolate Gusto or whoever that guy is? So I think both teams are going to go machine for machine, and it's going to be an exciting game. Mark that one in your calendar, and you want to be there. Thanks for watching once again. It's been a minute, but we're back. We'll keep you posted during this busy Christmas period. We've got your updates. The transfer window is going to open soon again. We'll let you know how we feel about the signings that happen, don't happen, and all that. Yeah, and there's definitely a lot to look out for from us. We're going to be doing a roundup of the entire year over the coming weeks. Yeah, we're going to talk about the number of players, the players that we think have been excellent this season, the team of the year for us. So yeah, you definitely want to look out for that. Yeah, catch you guys in the next one. Peace, love, and all that.